Dead by Daylight, a game that has been around for 10 whole years, and hopefully continues for maybe 10 more. Maybe 20 more. I highly doubt 20 more. Sorry. A game with an objective for both sides, for two roles. The eliminators and the eliminated. The eliminators have to eliminate all 4 of the survivors. Sometimes they're not as lucky as others. Sometimes the survivors actually get out. Sometimes one of them escapes through a hatch. But it doesn't matter to the entity. As long as blood is spilled and the realms are full, Dead by Daylight will continue. The survivors, the people who try to escape the realms, to return to another just to play again, do the same thing. It's not fair. They suffer. Both sides suffer. Dead by Daylight is a huge game with a huge community. But a lot of people forget that there's so much more to Dead by Daylight than just the gameplay. So invested in trying to escape, so invested to try to eliminate. But that's not just the entire thing, is it? Sure, that's the whole point of the game, but these survivors, the characters they play, have more in depth than they think, that they forget, that no one talks about. In this series, I will explain both sides of the survivors and the killers, both stuck in the fog to play in the realms to satisfy the entity. The survivors who want to go home, the killers who just want to be free, they don't have a choice. Maybe some want to be. Maybe some think this is a game. Maybe some think that it's great to be able to just unleash all their anger. But was that all they were meant for? I will start off with the survivors. Simple people who just want to escape. Who think that if they open that door, if they escape through a hatch, they'll find their way home. But they wake up back in the other realms. The killers, who are forced to chop up and spread the blood of the victims for the entity to feast upon, for the realms to be covered in. I will start off with the survivors now. And with our first survivor, I have Dwight Fairfield. Dwight Fairfield was a nerdy boy. He mostly kept to himself. He always wanted to fit in, wanted to be popular, wanted to be cool. But he just didn't have the charisma. He could never fit in. His grades were very low, and he worked a very low-end job. Dwight was made fun of by his fellow employees, his classmates, even his own boss made fun of him. But that's not fair to him. Why couldn't he fit in? He just wanted to be like everyone else. He just wanted to be normal, to be seen. With very little friends, was it even worth it anymore? One evening, Dwight was taken into the woods with his fellow co-workers. His boss had something planned for all of them. A party, a meeting. Maybe just something to get rid of him. Dwight went along anyway. Maybe he'll finally be accepted. Maybe this was just all for promotion. Maybe he finally got a chance to be noticed. His boss gives him a cup of his own very homemade moonshine. Dwight woke up the next morning, lost, a headache. Dwight doesn't remember what happened last night. He only remembers taking a sip. What happened? Where was everyone? They left him again. But this time the woods were deeper. The fog was thicker. Dwight tried to hike his way out. He didn't know where to go. He didn't remember which way they came from, which way was the exit. But he continued trying anyway. But the fog was thick, and it got thicker and heavier. Dwight didn't know where he was going, but he tried to be as brave as he could, to lead himself back home, to prove himself that he is worthy, to show that he can make bonds with his friends. But that was the last anyone ever heard of him. Nobody knew what happened to Dwight. Does anyone worry? Does anyone seem to care? Dwight was no longer there. Dwight was lost and taken by the entity into the realms of Dead by Daylight.